I had 15 years approximately of laboratory leadership prior to sitting for the exam. And I've heard this before, that I kind of thought, well, I've got this covered. I've done this for a long time. How hard can it be? I mean, I've been a laboratory manager, and it's all about management. So I will say that the first time I sat for the exam, they have all kinds of material on the website for you to look into, to study, and I purchased maybe one of the books on there, and I had some other resources that I've been studying for years to try to be that best manager that I can be. And I should have realized that I was woefully unprepared, and I did not pass the first time I took the DLM exam. And so that was a very hard lesson for me to realize, you can't walk into a very prestigious and well thought of exam like that, all full of yourself, thinking that, oh, I got this, I'm slam dunk. Realizing that I needed to really pull back and identify where my strengths were as a laboratory manager, but then also have a full and deep understanding of what my weaknesses were. I was on the board of directors for cmDLMcm, and the president at the time, Ann Pontius, had tapped me to see if I would be willing to serve on the board of governors for the board of certification. And that is a really a tremendous group of multiple industry leaders around the table looking at certification, making sure that it is the gold standard for laboratory professionals, along with pathology assistants and other phlebotomists and anybody that goes for a board of certification credential. And so once I joined that board, I had really some amazing mentors. First joining that, Karen Brown was my, what they call it, board buddy. She was my board buddy, and she was just so very encouraging. I made friends with a lot of the leaders there. Susan Harrington, both Karen and Susan ended up being chair of the board of governors. So very strong leaders, certainly very encouraging for me. I also learned that the DLM certification is in collaboration with CLMA. So knowing that I was serving on both boards, it was just a natural fit to strive for that certification. And then eventually, I was asked to then be the board liaison for the DLM exam committee. So of course I could not be the board liaison until I passed the DLM. So that's another reason why I knew that, that was definitely in my near future, and really understood that it was the most prestigious certification that one can get, particularly in laboratory management. And I was just very excited to get started and have that earned and work towards that. It was pretty clear early on what my trouble spots were, because those questions keep coming up and keep coming up. And I also knew that finance was going to be one of my most challenging subjects. I had always had an accounting team at every laboratory that I worked at. So I took that to heart. I really studied very hard in finance. I also identified some online courses that I could take. I engaged with my finance partner at the place where I was working to have him help me walk through some of the concepts and really take a good look of, cash flow worksheets and all kinds of, finance names that I'd never heard of, and how to do the calculations. And I will say that I was very successful on the second attempt for the exam. And at the time that I took the exam, it should have been a big flashing red light for me, because it did have a 15% pass rate. So that kind of information would have been something that I should have paid more attention to. But after really preparing for the exam, then I felt much more confident going into it the second time. as I said, with that pass rate being such a challenge there at the beginning, me failing the first time I attempted the exam, I was very committed to passing it the second time. And actually the clock was ticking, because I only had a few months left before we had the annual ASCP meeting, where I was going to be announced as the new DLM board liaison to the exam. So I had a particular fire lit under me, if that makes sense. I remember at the time too, I was, my aunt, my dad's only sister, was celebrating her 90th birthday in San Diego, California. And of course, we lived in the Midwest. So my father very much wanted to go on this trip. He was 86 himself. So he asked me to be his minder, so to speak, if I would travel with him. And yet he does not like to fly. So we boarded Amtrak. I can't even remember how many days we were on the train, but it was several days. And there's no straight shot to San Diego from Kansas City, Missouri. You have to go across and then down and then over. But anyway, it was really kind of a neat experience for me, because I'm going through, I had my books with me, I'm writing out these flashcards, and my dad took a real interest in what I was doing, and even offered to go through some of those flashcards with me. And it was such a rewarding experience, because he never fully really understood what I did. Most people don't. You know, my mom called me a nurse for about 3 times before she understood why I kept correcting her. And so I'd be laid up, you know, at night in the observation car, and the porters would come by and check on me and ask what I was studying. And it was a really cool opportunity to really lift the profession and educate lots of individuals what laboratory medicine is, and particularly the importance of having, you know, really certified and great managers to help drive that quality of the laboratory. You know, when I first sought the DLM certification, I had been with my current employer for probably about 10 years. And so sitting for the exam and earning that, you know, special certification, I'm not sure really made a blip in the radar where I originally was. You know, it was an announcement, yay, you know, everybody celebrated what a great achievement that was. But when it really made a difference was, it was after my father passed away. And I realized, you know, I was living a couple states away, and it was important to get back to family. And a wonderful opportunity came up with another healthcare system, a very prestigious one in Kansas and Missouri, that there was a laboratory manager position open, one of the 8 hospitals that they have. And I know for a fact that because I had the DLM, I was very much at the top of the list. In the interview process, it was mentioned several times how much that was, you know, regarded as a high achievement. And because of that certification, they were very interested in my other qualifications, skills, and knowledge. And I will say that I was successful in getting the job, and have loved moving back closer to my sisters and my brother. And it's just much more great balance of life. So it has been a tremendous opportunity for me to earn the DLM, as well as I've taken that information, and at the time, the chair of the DLM exam committee was Becky Kenner, and I was also really good friends still with a leader in CLMA, Ann Pontius. And the 3 of us went around and we did several presentations, not only for ASCP conferences, but for CLMA conferences. And I did one personally for ASCLS. And we talked about the DLM. Now, of course, not giving away any, answers to the test, but just helping people understand that it is a broad category of knowledge. It is a wonderful thing to have in your tool belt as you advance in your career. And it really does gain that level of prestige and confidence. I talked a lot about that, is how it changed me as a professional, knowing that I have achieved that exam. I also was studying for the exam the same time I was working through my master's program. So I finished them up all about at the same time. So it really was an extremely rewarding experience to have those achievements and know that it was going to make a significant impact in my career as I move forward. That additional advanced certification has helped me because I learned so much. I mentioned, I kind of went in there as a hot shot manager and I got this, but really studying and preparing for the DLM provided me such a deeper knowledge base of the things that I know on a daily basis, made me more successful as a manager. And I just love the fact that because I also sit on the DLM exam committee every year, what a group of smart, committed people, really excellent, experienced laboratory managers, laboratory directors, administrators. We get together and it's every certification exam, but I'm speaking mostly to the DLM. They get together and they review every single question. And it really is the goal of all of those exam committees to make sure that whoever is sitting, that individual is sitting for that exam, that they walk away and when they're certified, they really are an individual that is advanced and has earned that particular certification. Because of the advanced certification, I know that I have more opportunities to sit at the table with C-suite individuals or with my administration in the hospital, because I've proven myself to be one of those leaders that deserves a seat at the table. Not necessarily that I throw my letters around so much, but it is on my email, and it has, as I think I've said before, provided me that level of confidence and professionalism that, doggone it, I have a lot to offer and I should be at the table making those decisions. And it's just made it that much easier for me to ask for invitations, and people are like, oh yes, absolutely, we need you to help with that decision. Because I think sometimes, as we all know, the laboratory can be overlooked, and you really do have to put yourself out there and demand to be heard, and make sure that you do have that seat at the table. And the DLM just provides me that extra assurance that I belong there. So personally and professionally, the DLM has been very impactful for me. I will say, on a personal level, it has created that level of confidence and feeds into that core value of achievement. It also has really supported my other core value of service, because I am often public speaking and talking not only about why the DLM is so important and how it can impact your career so positively, but even on many other topics that I speak on. It really has created a level of interest for individuals to ask about it, and I get a chance to really help and teach and clarify some things about the DLM to make people more comfortable to sit for that exam. And the advice that I would give to those people is believe in yourself. Never say never. I originally got my DLM at an organization that I thought I would work there for the rest of my life and I would retire there. And I did not feel that, I had quite the sense of accomplishment with the DLM until another opportunity opened up. And so, you never know. And an advanced certification like the DLM is really a wonderful ticket to advance in your career. And you do have to know that it is not, because it is so revered and prestigious, that you can't just walk into it and expect to sign your name at the bottom of the exam and walk away with it. I learned that the hard way. Study for it, prepare for it, get a great support network. I've mentioned I had lots of colleagues, whether it was on the Board of Governors for the Board of Certification. I had lots of support from my family, and support from the team that I had at work. And because I was able to work with my finance partner in the job, and even sat down with an interview with the CEO to particularly ask some questions about approaches that would help me prepare for the DLM. Reach out and take any resource that you have available to you and look through the reading list. Identify if there's any online classes that might be available to you, community college classes, those things that are not, tremendously expensive, but they're all an investment in the success for your future. So really believe in yourself, you can do it, and just take a little bit of time to prepare for it. And I'm very confident that you too will be successful. So would I take another advanced certification from the Board of Certification? Absolutely, I would. There's no doubt in my mind that that is the gold standard that we have for laboratory professionals. It is definitely a testimony to your success when you achieve a certification from the Board of Certification, and it really will set you apart from other professionals. One of the things that I've really enjoyed being a laboratory manager on a team with, such a varied group of people. You have your, phlebotomists, you have your lab assistants, you have your medical laboratory technicians, medical laboratory scientists, and I am always encouraging them to continue to look at certification as an advancement for their career growth. I now, out of 5 phlebotomists, have 2 that are certified. Yay! I'm so proud of them. And I have 2 out of 2 of my MLTs that will be sitting for the MLS exam soon. It really is a great opportunity for everyone in the laboratory profession to take that investment into your career that I feel just solidly confident that will make a really good positive impact in your career growth and your success for the future. I know it has me made a tremendous impact, and yes, if I had an opportunity to take another exam, I most certainly would.